But we're going to talk about the Unite 2023 keynote and the announcements around that today, and just chat with everybody and see what everybody's thinking, how everybody's feeling. I'm really curious what everybody thought of the actual keynote if you watch it. First, I guess before we get started, just get a rough idea. Looks like got a good number of people in here. If you watched the keynote, can you just say so in the chat? Just say like you watched it or something. Just let me know if you watched it. I'm just trying to get an idea of how many people have actually seen what was announced and what we're going to be talking about. I've got it up here, but there was a lot of stuff. Anyway, good morning, Greg.
Good morning.
Getting started a little bit weird, but I'm super thirsty and a little out of it, ready to dive into this stuff. So it looks like a couple people have watched it. Okay, there we go. I think I've got a little bit of a delay and a cough. All right. So yeah, you watched the keynote as well, right, Greg?
That's right.
And
Yep.
I was definitely in there. Although, like I was just saying, I actually read the it was kind of weird the way that things got released. I read the blog post of the keynote roundup or review before the keynote was available to watch. I think it became available like 3 hours before the video was there. So I didn't actually see the video. Or I watched the video, but I didn't see it until after I'd already kind of knew everything to expect. So yeah, it was kind of interesting, but not as exciting as I had hoped. That was kind of like my just rough starting takeaway. I was really hoping that there would be more exciting stuff, but there were a couple things in there to talk about. And then I'm really curious what everybody else thought, though. Like for the people who did watch it, and obviously for Greg, were you excited by it? Not excited? I'm just curious what everybody's general thoughts were. But yeah, what did you think of the kind of whole and I guess the keynote and the whole package of what we saw so far?
I thought it was pretty well put together. I saw some comments and discussion while it was going on. People were thinking it was cringe. I didn't really get that vibe from it. Um, Obviously, it's a big rah-rah presentation, right? Trying to really hype up the engine. I think they were doing their best to try to recover from the whole pricing fiasco. I like the new CEO's opening remarks. He didn't try to downplay, what had gone on and just talked about how they really need to do a better job of communicating and not taking people by surprise when they make a change that affects you materially, I think was the actual phrase he used. In terms of the new features and stuff, some of it was pretty exciting. I was in the Muse beta for the AI stuff, so I didn't get to play around with any of the like texture generation or animation and stuff. So now that that's rolling out and they're giving you a month free to play around with that, I'm really looking forward to playing around with some of that. The one thing that kind of piqued my interest was when they were talking about the new asset manager as part of Unity Cloud, but it sounds like it's not really what I was thinking it was, unfortunately. So that's a little bit, getting excited and then having your balloon popped.
Yeah. The asset manager is one that I'm still not sure who the market is for that. I assume there's somebody out there that wants it. There's probably some big corporate customer or something that needs something like that. But I I haven't been in a scenario personally where it was something that we would have used. Right? We always had our own workflow or something simpler that didn't require remote network connections and monthly fees and all that kind of stuff. So I assume somebody needed it though, and that's
Mhm.
why it was built. There must have been some demand there. I just don't see it as like the core Unity developer. And I guess that was kind of my biggest problem with like the whole Unite event so far was that there wasn't a whole lot announced yet for the kind of core Unity developers. There's a lot of talk about what's planned, like there's going to be stuff and that's going to be their focus, but I haven't seen what the actual the things are. And I mean, to be fair, I don't expect that to happen right away. It's been super short time, new CEO for just a couple weeks and a big direction change that's all kind of kicking off right now. So I expect we'll probably see much more announcements at GDC. And this was kind of a, I don't know. It was an event. Some stuff happened. People got to see the kind of new direction that everything is, I think, going in. But there wasn't anything that got me super excited yet. I'm just waiting. The Muse stuff is interesting though, and Muse Animate is the one that when I've talked to people so far, it's the thing that people seem to be most interested in is the animation generation, which is the one thing that I haven't actually tried out. The other things I've tried out, and they're all right. The sprite generation is actually pretty cool. Now that I can talk about it, you can generate sprites by giving it existing sprites, drawing shapes, and then telling it stuff, and it will combine all of that and make you some pretty cool sprites. I've used it to make things like buttons and characters and stuff like that. It's kind of cool. I'm a terrible artist though, so I don't actually end up using it other than to just kind of experiment. If I actually need sprite characters, I'm just going to go grab some from the asset store. But that's me. I assume that somebody will make some of those. And same with textures. You can do lots of texture generation on there. It's pretty cool. If I need like specific metal type things, I might use it, but I could also just do those in other tools that generate materials. And most of the time I just go to the asset store. So they're definitely like cool tools, and I think as they get integrated more into the engine and it becomes like, you click on a piece of a mesh and suddenly you hit a button and type what you want and there's not a whole workflow and it becomes more tighter integrated, I think it'd be something that I'd probably start to use more. But as it is now, it's just no, like they're generating things. They're just stuff that I already have access to on the asset store, and I already have, so it's not stuff that I specifically really need. I guess is the problem. Like they've got a good solution, but it's just to a problem that not many people I know have, which is generating textures and sprites.
How good a job does the sprite generator do at consistency? Like if you're generating characters and you want to get different poses, does it do a good job of making them consistent?
It did. In my experimenting, it did a really good job of that, of like, and not just creating like a single character in different poses, but like creating multiple characters that match the same style and the same theme. It was pretty good at that. I'm just a terrible artist, so like using any art tools, I'm still going to end up with a terrible result compared to what I can get in the asset store. An actual artist may get a lot more value out of the art tools than me, but I'm a programmer, definitely not an artist. The
Yeah, same
animate
here.
one though, that I could see myself using, and just saying, hey, make me this animation. But I don't know that I would use it that much compared to what I do now, which is just go grab animations from packs that I already have. They retarget and they work for 9 out of 10 things, and I use something like Final IK for the other stuff. So it's certainly cool. I like the direction that it's going. I just don't have specific uses for it myself right now.
Yep.
I don't know.
I finally grabbed Final IK from the flash sale.
Oh yeah, yeah. That is a great asset. That's one I've had since like Unity 3 or 4, since the early versions, like when it first came out. This one, yeah. Oh, it's not on sale anymore. The Black Friday deal ended on it.
Yep.
By the way, the Black Friday flash deals are on. I forgot to mention that they're on, and they just changed at 8 a.m. this morning, and then they're changing again every 12 hours. So the deals that are up there 70% off now will rotate out after 12 hours. The ones that were up there before, they stayed for a couple days, I think, throughout the beginning of Unite, and then they just did a big rotation. There's a ton of cool stuff on there. Like there was this deep voice AI one. Now, speaking of AI, this is one thing that I think like is going to have a big impact AI wise. Voiceovers, right? I feel bad for voiceover actors, but I don't see like all of the other tools that I've seen. Like, they kind of help, but voiceover stuff just, I feel like it replaces voice actors almost completely for most game stuff. Obviously, like you're doing a high-end production game where you got a multi-million dollar budget and you want a famous actor or something, or you're doing a TV show, might use a real voice actor. But if you're just making like a standard video game and you want voiceovers, it is now completely within realm. It's totally doable. It's not a huge expense. It's not like a giant engineering feat to make it happen anymore. You can just add voiceovers to your games relatively simply. And this one that's on sale right now. From what I understand, you pre-generate the voiceovers, but I get the sense that in the very near future, all of that stuff is just going to be like live generated. You're just going to be live generating voice based off of script. That script will be able to be dynamic and just played in almost any game. So I don't know. I'm excited about the voiceover stuff, although I do feel bad for like my friend's son who wants to be a voiceover actor.
Mm.
Like, oh, that's the
Yeah, I
wrong
played around
decade
with
for that.
Replica Studios AI voice stuff. Have you messed with that? I think I saw a video where you worked on it,
Oh
didn't you?
yeah, no, I've used it a bunch. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does a lot of voice generation. This one does from what I've seen, even more voices. It's got like a huge list of voices. Does it all in the editor, and it worked pretty damn well. Who showed me this? I forget now. Is it you all right? Somebody was showing me exactly how this thing worked. I've lost track. My brain is totally flipping, but yeah, it looked pretty cool. So I'm gonna. That's one of the few that I'm gonna grab that, and I already recommended everybody grab the cartoon effects one if you don't have that. That thing is awesome at 75% off or whatever. Anyway, back to the keynote stuff. So the big announcement was, of course, it's now Unity 6, which is I think confusing for a lot of people. I don't know about you, but for me, I can kind of understand why they did it. I think that they want to get away from the super fast forced release cycle, but I'm not completely sure that it matters at all. It felt like, you know, nothing. I don't
Well,
know.
one of the most entertaining things about the keynote was watching the comments while it was going on and seeing all the people trolling. In regards to this, people were saying, well, they chose Unity 6, so it's one bigger than Unreal 5 and two bigger than Godot 4.
That was hilarious. I saw those. But yeah, I mean, for everybody who's new to Unity, Unity used to use a 1 through whatever version number, and then right after 5, they switched to the annual version number and started matching like with Visual Studio for some reason. And then now it looks like they're switching back. I don't really care that they're switching back, but what I was curious about, and if anybody in chat knows too, I know somebody was asking, is if part of this has anything to do with a release cycle change. Are they going to move away from the, 3 big releases a year, or are they going to go to, like just one release and do it whenever they're ready, or are they going to do 6.1 every year and a 6.2, or I'm curious what the actual plan is, because the rename alone doesn't really mean or kind of tell us anything. The Fantasy Kingdom project looked kind of cool. Like, it was rendering okay and getting a decent frame rate with a bunch of stuff. And I mean, if you use Cinti stuff, they're super unoptimized. They're low poly, but they're usually like tons and tons of just object instances. Like every little thing is made up of a bunch of little pieces. So that seemed cool, but wasn't the most exciting. The web GPU part, though, this is something that I've been silent about because it was under NDA, but this actually seemed kind of interesting, and I don't know that they played it up that much in the keynote, but it's essentially a new version of the web target for what WebGL was, and it's replacing WebGL, not using OpenGL. And from what I've seen in the demos, it looks to be drastically faster and better. And I was definitely interested in this one. I'm kind of curious that now can actually start playing with it and trying it out, because it seems like if you want to do web-based games, for the longest time that was just kind of dying off. The support for it was kind of dwindling, and it wasn't going anywhere. But apparently, they've been working on this in the background, and it's a whole new system working with the browsers. Or I don't know how new it is, but it's a new system working with the browsers that looks like it's drastically faster, and it's like a new. So instead of doing a WebGL back or a WebGL target, it'll be a web target with multiple rendering engines. So there's going to be, I think there will be WebGL as one of the rendering options, and then this web GPU is the other rendering option, and then you have a web or like I assume it's called just like a web target, and then this is the rendering part on top of it. So there's that little split there. This one actually seemed pretty cool.
Well, with WebGL, I hope that they sooner rather than later add the ability for netcode for game objects to work with WebGL. I know you have to use the Unity transport, which doesn't work with WebGL.
It does if you use 2.0.
Oh, really?
Yep. So if you use 2.0 now, it's not there by default. You have to go to the transport, go to the supported versions, and install it. It's out of pre-release though. I think there's even a 2.1. Yeah, if you do that and then switch over the protocol and switch it to TCP, it'll actually work in WebGL, and you can have a client-hosted game there. It's freaking awesome.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a relatively new development. So if you're doing that, definitely try out that new target. Or make sure you try out the new transport. That's actually something.
What's the minimum Unity version that works with? Do you know?
I think it's 2023, but I'm not completely sure. It might work in 22 for the target, but it wouldn't surprise me if they limited it to 23.
I think that's another reason for changing the version number too, because they're so far behind on the years now. Like people, 2022 LTS is only just becoming usable, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, and now it's almost 2024. I agree. Yeah. I think that totally makes sense. By the way, I was thinking multiplayer stuff. I just threw up a Black Friday sale for the multiplayer mastery course for an offline version, and a little sale for people who want to join all the live calls and stuff. And that's the WebGL target with multiplayer and netcode for game objects is one of the things. We actually just finished the student call right before this. It was a lot of fun. Lots of people talking about some interesting projects, and Greg was in there too. We have those calls twice a day on most of the odd days. The next one's on Sunday morning, and then we got 2 on Tuesday, and the next lesson's on lobby and relay stuff. Sorry, my brain is totally farting. So if you're interested in that, you can go check that out. But I'm going to shut up about it and continue on down the list. Oh, continuing multiplayer support. Did you see this part? So they've got the new Mega City Metro demo.
Yep.
Which has the, let's see if we can click on that. I'll click the link here. Let's see what we can see. Oh. What's under the hood? Navigate the cityscape. Is there not the video? I think we have the video here. Okay, I guess you can sign up to get the demo. I should probably do that. Let's go check all the boxes. Industry will be in architecture, since that's at the top. All right. I'll get the demo as soon as it's available. So I guess that's coming sometime soon. And that's the dots demo, right?
Yeah.
That's for the big, large scale. What they did was basically take that Mega City demo that came out so long ago. That was like when they first announced dots. And I remember the thing about that was cool was they showed off this demo of a giant city with spaceships going all around and millions of entities, and then pulled it out on a phone. That was like the part that was like, oh, okay, no, this is awesome. Now it's like that same thing is running on a phone. And I think we've kind of seen some of the benefits of that with ECS over the last 5 or 6 years. But now they got the demo for it, which I think it's interesting. I think it's a good way to show off netcode for entities and kind of the ECS system and how you can deal with rendering and doing networking for a large number of things. If you're in dots, it's probably cool. The other multiplayer thing was not nearly as exciting though. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, is that the one that also integrates with all the other services like matchmaking and hosting? And I can't remember if it was that one, but they were talking about, they had an example that just shows how you can use all those different services all from one provider.
I don't know if that was the Mega City Metro one. Did anybody in chat know? Because yeah, I don't know. I know that the other one has some of those services. There was another multiplayer demo. Is that? That's in where's that tab? On this tab right here. There was after the awards. Congrats, Code Monkey and Jasper. I kind of
Code Monkey cleaned up.
Oh,
3 categories.
I completely expect that. I mean, you have that many subscribers and not like, but this was the other multiplayer demo. This one does make some connections to things, but it was not what I was looking for either. This is that multiplayer sample. This is available as like a new project sample now. When you create a new project, you can pick it, and I wouldn't, but it's it's definitely interesting. It does have a couple of useful things in there that you could kind of pick out and peel out, but it's not what I would recommend as a template. It's a little complicated for getting things started. The other one, I think that wrong tab. The dots one is probably more on point with something that I would recommend though. And then they did these cloud changes. So is this just a rename? That's what it looked like to me. Like it was just they renamed Unity Gaming Services to Unity Cloud.
I think they redesigned the website too. So um, I think they've tried to organize it a little bit better. I was looking at it a little bit yesterday because I use Unity Cloud Build, and I use their analytics and stuff. So I'm definitely going to have to be digging into this, especially
it
when I
seems like they
want to
kind of
push my next
integrated
release.
because I think there were like 2 or 3 different ones that you would have to bounce between if you used gaming services. Then you wanted to go over to like multiplayer, and then there was one other one that might have been I don't think it was the build. I think build was under gaming services. But yeah, it looks like they put them all kind of into one and gave them a rename. But there's not like a change or new services, are there? It's just kind of
Yeah, I think they
a
just
new way to manage and maintain them.
improved the front end. And there was something else that kind of stood out to me in the keynote when she was talking about addressables and cloud content delivery. It's supposed to be easier now to set up and do your content builds and push them out. So I mean, it wasn't terribly hard before, but it was a little bit tedious. So hopefully they're
Yeah.
streamlining that.
That actually sounds pretty interesting. I'm gonna have to dig into that and see what they did there. If anybody knows in chat what's going on with the content delivery too, let me know. I remember getting a preview of that a while ago. I gotta check it out though and see where it's at. Okay, and then there was the Muse and Centis updates, which I think we've kind of talked about already. Go by. Yeah, the only thing with Muse, I still don't think that it's gonna sell at $30 a month. Call me pessimistic, but it doesn't seem like that's a
No,
value
I mean,
proposition that
I
most
can't
people are going to
imagine
go
why
for.
you'd switch away from like,
Chat GPT and
yeah, for
other,
30. Yeah.
yeah, it seems like it's more expensive and slightly less powerful than the competitors. But I mean, once it gets the animation and all that stuff, it could probably justify it. But I still think it should just
But does
be.
that include the animation and the texture generation and sprite generation and all that? Or is that
It does,
just the
but the
chat?
animate. I think it includes everything, but the
Oh, okay.
animation part isn't there yet. So right
Right.
now it's just the texture and chat thing.
Because if it's
Yeah,
just the chat, I mean, GitHub Copilot is enough
yeah.
for me, honestly.
Or I mean, you can use Bard for free on Google, and it'll
Mhm.
do the same job. Yeah, but I think that I think I still feel like it should be free, and then have an upgraded tier for the heavy users. Make it free so people will start to play with it and try it out, and then the people who actually want to actively use it and get value out of it could pay a subscription or something. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe or when the animation thing comes though, I think that people will be more excited about it. But still, even $30 a month for animation generation seems a little pricey.
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes though. I mean, I'm always wrong about these things. So let's see. I missed some of the details, but do you keep these generated assets even after unsubscribing? Yeah, I think you do. I would assume so. I can't imagine
Yeah. I
that.
mean, that's the way it works with like Mid Journey and stuff.
Yeah,
So
and anything else. Yeah, it would be weird if you didn't. I don't even know that it would be enforceable if you didn't. Let's see. Ensure game developers can reach players where they are. So this was their talk about supporting new platforms. I think that's always been like one of Unity's biggest strengths is having platform support immediately out of the box for anything new. You know, a new device comes out and it works with Unity. You can just make your games on it. Yeah, and that was kind of it, right? There were a couple rendering updates. They look like some nice little improvements that kind of expected. But not a whole lot more. Let's switch to the other tab real quick. So there was also the awards and the latest tech stream release. So let's see what's on here. Awards go to, oh, that's right, Code Monkey. Best live streamer, best tutorial, best devlog series. Congrats, Hugo.
The thing is, Code Monkey's only been live streaming for a couple of months. He's been mostly doing pre-recorded videos, right? Or is it only that he's only putting his face on them recently?
No, I think he doesn't do that much live streaming. I think that the other people that did the live stream, they probably did a lot more. But I think Code Monkey's got a lot more fans. So a lot of people just vote Code Monkey all the way down the box. I think I voted for him for a couple categories myself. So I'm not surprised. And then Jasper as well. Looked like one most entertaining and best newcomer. I think most entertaining is the hardest one.
Yeah,
it's the most important. Good job.
I was hoping my channel would be on the list for best newcomer.
Maybe next year.
I won't be a newcomer next year though, unless what's the cutoff?
I don't know. I assume it's based on like, I don't know, subscribers and time they've been doing it, but who knows?
I was glad to see Sasquatch on the list.
Oh yeah, one of my favorites.
His videos have been getting better and better lately.
Yeah, they definitely have. So, Publisher of the Year, More Mountains. Best Development Tool, FPS Engine. Best Artistic Tool, Text Animator. That's hilarious. That's one of the ones I've been talking about for a while now. I forget which one of you recommended it. It was, I don't know if it was you or Uri or somebody recommended. Yeah, that's actually on the Black Friday sales. I think it's either today or like in 12 hours. Text Animators on there. It's great. It's like, if you haven't used it, let me pull it up real quick. I just want I want to show everybody what it is, because it is super cool, and it's one of those zero work assets where you just pull it in and suddenly things are cool.
I saw you recommended those tune numbers.
Yeah, they're free.
They're free?
Yeah, that's the free pack today. No, you have to put in the code.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the free pack today. You go put in the code there and you get their tune number characters. But here you can see I'm not sharing the screen. Share tab. Here's the text animator. It's on goes on sale in 9 hours. So it's gonna be like $10 or whatever, $12. But you essentially give it tags and it will start animate. Why is there not a video? Where's the video for it? Let's watch the video. But you give it tags and it'll animate your text. So there you go. Bam. See the text popping up right there. Let's hide that window.
So you give it tags like you would any Text Mesh Pro?
Yes, just like you would with Text Mesh Pro or something. Let's make this nice and big. There. Yeah, and then the tag, you can see it just does the animation. And here's the tag right there. They got the shake tag. This does a shake. And you just add in different tags. There's a whole bunch of different ones, and all you have to do is add it in. Just works with Text Mesh Pro. You don't have to do anything special. Does cool animations for gradients. You can see it. It's freaking awesome, and like it just makes like your text seem kind of alive and cool with zero work. Like you just get this extra little bit of polish and flashiness without having to do anything. So I definitely highly recommend that one. It's at the top of my list of things that I pull into most projects, because if I have text in there, a lot of time I just want to make it fancy and cool. Yeah, I mean the only other thing that I pull into pretty much everything is Odin.
What about that scene optimizer? I saw you mention that in your video.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Does some optimization stuff if you have projects where you have these big scenes and you need that. It's just not the kind of thing that necessarily applies to everybody. It's one of those where it's cool. It's super useful if you have the need for it. If you don't have the need for it, you don't care at all. Right? Like, if you don't have scenes to optimize, you might not care. Wait, where's the other? Was that tab I was sharing? No, it was this one. Yeah, okay. And then Elven Realm. I don't think I've seen that one. Polygon one. Sounds cool though. I did grab the Cars pack though, the racing one, just a little while ago. and then some AR news, and then the upcoming stuff. So, the last thing I wanted to mention on here, if you're using the latest Unity, make sure that you grab whatever it is, 2023.2 F1. It's actually out now. Like they've got the non-beta version. I just upgraded everything in all my courses and stuff to that. Seems quite a bit more stable than the beta that was constantly crashing on me. So I'm hopeful. We'll see if it stays that way. But yeah, is there anything coming up that you're excited about? Or
we're getting into the holiday season, so I'll probably be ramping down a little bit on game dev for the rest of the year. We'll see.
oh, okay. That's fair. Yeah, it tends to be like a bit of a quieter time. Dom asked in chat, have you met the new CEO yet? Yeah, actually I had to have a nice long conversation with him last week. We chatted about what's going on with Unity, and to be honest, like he seems like a really cool guy. He seems like he's got a pretty good vision for what he wants to do, and it certainly lined up with a lot of the things that I was thinking. There were some things that he called out before I could even mention them, and recommendations, like things that he was saying he wanted to do before I recommended saying I would think I was going to tell him to do, or tell him to. I think I was going to ask him to recommend, and he was calling them out. He seemed super interested in getting back to like focusing on the more game development side and less on the outside industry stuff. I have no idea what that actually ends up meaning. Like if they're going to just invest more in like engine and editor stuff, or if they're going to divest some of the other things, or if they're going to try to figure out how to make those integrations actually work. Because I think that everyone at Unity realizes there's been like a ton of these acquisitions and things that have been brought in and pulled together, but like none of them actually have anything to do with Unity. Like the Weta stuff, nothing to do with Unity. Things like multiplayer, there's support for it in there loosely, but it really has nothing to do with Unity. It's mostly like hosting a couple big Unreal games. Last time I checked, and I think there's a bunch of those things where stuff is not integrated, and I got the sense that they're either going to start working on getting that stuff integrated or stop focusing on those things and unload them and focus on other stuff. But it's really hard to know because they don't tell you any of this stuff. They don't really give you any idea because they got all their business stuff that they got to do, and they can't tell you what they're going to do. And I don't really know. I'm just wildly guessing that they're going to be focusing more on that stuff, or more on the game dev side stuff. But who knows? I don't know how all those decisions get made. I also got the sense that they were focusing a bit more on community things. So getting back to doing like local in-person meetups and getting those going and supporting those again, and doing more, I think more in-person and community events. It seems like they were interested in, just because there used to be such a big, I think, like local community in a lot of places around Unity stuff, and then they started kind of falling apart in the early teens, and then COVID hit. Like almost all of them just died, and I think that I got the sense that they'd like to bring that stuff all back too, which I think is great. It's you get people in there, you get people that are super passionate, learning about stuff and introducing each other and showing off all the new tech. And it looks like Polygot met Andrew at Unite. Nice. Awesome. Tell him to fuck off. No, tell him hello. I love you, Andrew. Andrew's awesome. Hopefully you guys are having lots of fun out there. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to one multiplayer event at NC State. There's a Unity guy there. He's not with Unity anymore. I think he went back to, I don't know if he was with Bethesda or was with some company before Unity, and now he's gone back to them. But that was pretty cool. But I'm surprised there isn't more of that in this area, because we're in a very tech area, the Research Triangle Park with NC State, UNC, Duke. So I'm just surprised there's not more. Maybe there is, and I just don't know about it. But
there probably aren't. That's the thing. Like a lot of this stuff just kind of died off, and without, I I feel like it just takes a little bit of kind of official support to make those things really take off. What? The code isn't working? Oh, sorry. Harry said the code Jason Wyman BF23
Doesn't it
isn't
have to
working.
be over $100 for
It
that
does,
code to
yeah. It
apply?
has to be like $100, I think, before the discount, if for it to work. But I'm not sure, and I wouldn't worry too much about it. It only gives apparently it gives 10% off the remaining balance, which is way less exciting because it ends up being like 3% instead of like 10 when you add it up. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that one.
Yeah.
Because
Some
it'd be
people are
like
commenting
10%.
about Epic Games. They're like 5 minutes from my house, their headquarters.
Yeah, I would expect there to be like some Unreal meetups. There probably is an Unreal meetup in your area.
Probably.
But yeah, here there used to be a lot, and it would be nice if those were going again. And I get the sense that they're gonna probably push for that some more. Yeah, code is not only if you're already over 100. Yeah, hey, game shenanigans. Oh man. So I think that was kind of the end of it, right? Was there anything else? Oh, there was this template. So here. Wait, what is this? ICMY new dev resources. Okay. Yeah, so this is the list. Let's go over these real quick and then we'll wrap it up. This template, it's available in the latest version of 2023. I set it up, looked at it, I have it open. There's a couple interesting things where it does some connections to services, but I was very disappointed that it wasn't actually like a game. I saw the title and it said small scale competitive multiplayer template, and I'm thinking like, okay, cool, it's gonna be like a 4-player, small scale shooter where you run around and blast or do something else top down. But it's really just like some MVC templates and a button. Like the whole gameplay comes down to click a button to win. So I think useful if you want to look at how they made some of the service calls, but outside of that, it's like an over opinionated framework with no gameplay. So it's not something I would recommend using other than stripping that out. Maybe they'll turn it into something else, but I would really love for the Unity, like someone at Unity, to just build like a couple sample multiplayer games. Like they don't have to be big and complex. In fact, what would be nice is if they were less big and complex, not like Boss Room, but just like a sample multiplayer game that gets down to just the core of the multiplayer stuff, isn't super opinionated with a bunch of frameworks requiring people to understand dependency injection or all these other concepts where they've got to spend hours and hours and hours trying to dig through. And they just did like some games that you could play and that showed how to deal with the problems that people care about, not trying to architect up a whole solution, but just dealing with the problems in isolation. Things like client prediction, fast-paced projectiles, launch and stuff, spawning players, all of those things, having that just as systems in some samples. Give them a racing sample, give them a shooting sample, give them an RTS sample, and call it good. But don't make them so complicated that junior dev is going to open it up and just have no idea what the hell any of the stuff means. Because if you've got 3 layers, 4 layers before you get into using the network system that they've never used, they have no idea. You've lost them before they even got to the part where they get into these things. So I would love to see some samples like that come from Unity. Hopefully sometime in the near future. I don't know though. I mean, that doesn't the dots ones may be a little bit more like that, but I haven't really seen that with other Unity samples in the past very often. Well, I'm going to be hopeful though, and hope. I will ask. I will keep asking them for it and see if maybe they can accommodate, or maybe they'll agree. Maybe they disagree. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? There was also this URP 3D sample project. Did you see this?
Uh-uh.
Oh, okay. So this is the it has 3 or 4 environments, and I think 3 of them are
Oh
environments.
yeah, I did see them demo that. Okay.
Yeah, they had these environments at GDC though, like the first 3. So this part didn't excite me too much. And I think the 4th one though, it's like this deserty oasis one. I think that was new. This is like the new one, and then those other ones are like the actual ready and released versions. Because I think before they previewed these and showed them off, but they didn't actually make them available, and now they're actually available, which is cool. I mean, I'd forgotten that they weren't available after seeing them before. But they're like there one is a URP demo. This was a URP high performance demo for VR and AR stuff. The spaceship one, showing how to do a bunch of shader stuff in there and make it look cool and interesting while still getting really good frame rate. And then the other ones were like one was an outdoor area for lighting, so it showed like it was indoor and outdoor lighting essentially. So set up your characters in there, see what they look like, and get things looking correct. And then the other one, I think this one just showed off the forward plus lighting, so forward plus rendering that let you have unlimited number of lights. You'll see it when they go like out into they go out right here. There's a whole shitload of lights that all turn on, and it gets dark. And that was kind of the key of this one, plus a bunch of shader stuff. And then the third one right here, I thought that one was an HDRP one, but I guess it's a URP sample of outdoor shader stuff, water and sand and stuff. I that's the one I haven't seen yet. That's the new one. I want to dig into the VR template for URP. Yeah, it seems kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know what I'd do with it other than play with it, but it seems fun. And it's like a 3D spaceship game. And then the last thing, what is this? Summits covering games industry and education. I don't know anything about that, so I got none to add. And then they're doing some charity stuff.
Speaking of education, there's a company called Legends of Learning, and they have a huge catalog of topics they're looking for people to develop educational games for. And if you write a game and they accept it, you own the rights to the game. So even if they take it off their store, you can still continue to sell it elsewhere. One of the guys in the mastermind group I'm in has published he's published one and he's working on another one. And they're apparently really great to work with. And it's just based on how well your game does, how much they promote it on their platform. But I think a lot of schools and teachers grab games off here to use in their classrooms and stuff.
It looks pretty cool. They're gonna make some educational games. The nice thing about educational games too is that like they tend to be very simple to make. Like you can make a really good, cool educational game with very minimal effort. Like
The only gotcha that my buddy ran across is you can't do drag and drop. I guess because of the devices they supported on like different Chromebooks or whatever. I don't know. You can only do like click. Yeah. So no dragging and dropping.
Yeah, you got to think of it as just single points. But yeah, I think that's a neat system. I like the bridge one. I always loved those bridge building games, the physics ones.
Yeah, the physics ones with the different puzzles.
Yeah, I remember the first time I played them was at PDX LAN. Portland used to have like this giant LAN party. They'd rent out the convention center, and there'd be like thousands of people there with their big ass computers just in the 90s hanging out, playing Quake and Age of Empires and all kinds of stuff. And everybody had those. The bridge game was actually like up on a shared drive because everybody was just playing it when they weren't in matches. So like if you weren't in a match, you're waiting for your game to start or your tournament or whatever. People were just constantly playing it, and they were like posted up, and just the link to go grab. That's hilarious. It was on some network shares. Everybody was playing things. A lot of fun though. All right. Well, do we have any other topics or anything else you want to talk about today before we wrap stuff up?
Nope.
No? Nothing at all? Okay. Well, I guess I'll just mention to go subscribe to Greg's channel. The link should be in the description below. If it's not, then we'll make sure it is. I'm 99% sure it is there. Also, don't forget to go grab the free tune numbers. They're not $9. There's a code on that page. If you click the link, it'll give you the code, and you just go put them in there, and then you get the characters for free. It's just their publisher of the week. There's a new one every week. Not part of the flash sales, but the flash sales are going on, and they got 70% off. And if the thing is more than $100, you can use that code to get your extra 10%. Your extra 10% off. But yeah, you can use that code to save a little bit more. And out of those things, the deep voice one is definitely cool, and the cartoon effects are probably the coolest ones today that I know of. There was lots of stuff that was before, and there's like a ridiculous amount of things coming up in the future. Oh, and I would Andrew would kill me if I didn't find my link. There was one. No, it's not this one. This one is also right now 70% off on the flash sale. Andrew's character bundle. So if you're interested in RPG characters and didn't want it when it was 50% off, now it's 73% off. You can go check that out. Anyway, we'll be back next week for Black Friday. So if you have game dev stuff, you want to chat, come ask questions, come join us. Make sure that you subscribe and all that stuff. And if you want to chat before that in the live calls, the Black Friday sale for the multiplayer mastery course is going on until just this weekend and this weekend, so everybody can focus on their actual Black Friday stuff for the actual week. I figured just get it out of the way and done with. There was a offline version of the multiplayer mastery course people have been asking about that it's available there, and then the lessons open up on the 16th. So if you don't want to join the live calls and wanted at a discount, that was there. Anyway, I feel like I'm just rambling and going on and on and on. So thank you everybody for coming out. Thanks. You, Greg.
My pleasure.
Any final words?
Nope. Enjoy your game development journey.
Yes, have fun, make some games, and go do some cool stuff. I'm gonna go play Magic tonight. All right.